Okay. Are we online? Let me see. Yes, we are live. We are live. Well, hello, everybody. This is another episode on Wednesdays that we have with Tokitus online here now. My name is A.G. Ilbegi. I am a cognitive behavioral therapist. And today we will be talking on Therapist Couch about relationships and especially in times of uncertainty. Now the question is, uncertainty comes in every which way. So I have a lovely lady that's going to be talking to me today, Gintare, and I think she's here, so I'll try to get her in. And there she is, I hope so. Is she coming in or not? Yeah, that's the thing with how high tech. There she is.
Hey,
Yes, there she is. Hello,
good to see
hello.
you.
Good to see you too. Yeah, again, as I said, it's technology. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So now, thank goodness, it's working. So as I started to say, we're talking today more or less about relationships, and one thing is about the uncertainty about that. And now we're in unprecedented times, actually, of what's going on globally. A lot of people are forced, actually, to be separated. That is definitely one thing which is added to everything else of what uncertainty is concerned. Relationships as itself is between two people, very different people, and that's why we have all these things going on to matching people up. You have all these, so to say, websites to match you up and so forth. I don't know how much of that works or doesn't. You see it on TV, you see it everywhere. The human being and the psyche is so complex, where it's not easy just to fill out a form, say I like this, I like that, and the other person likes this, so we're going to match together, or she has to look like this to get. It's much deeper than that. And one thing that we'll be talking today about is also that when it comes down to the psychological background of everything. And we are basically, our psyche directs us, shows us the way. And as we had talked before, that has a lot to do with your upbringing, your environment, your nature, and all those things that come together. So now talking about this thing about uncertainties, especially about the current situation. Are there certain things that basically that is important to you and our audience, which I think is a very general and very interesting topic? What is there something that you can pinpoint out and tell us something about your own experience?
Mm-hmm. So I can present my own experience
Sure.
at first. So during the pandemic, I had and still have two different experiences of relationships and distance. So at the beginning of pandemic, I couldn't be together with my loved one, with my at the time boyfriend. And we didn't know how long it's gonna take for us to see each other. And at the beginning, when everything was so crazy, I even had thoughts that maybe we will never see each other again. Maybe world is never gonna open again, or maybe both of us or one of us is gonna die before we are able to see each other. Yeah, I had those thoughts.
You got that drastic, that dramatic, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did.
When emotions come in and certain kind of thoughts come in too, where later on you think about it, you begin to laugh, like many things when one is in kind of a love relationship. Yeah, please go on.
But at that moment, it's so serious for you. I feel like people around me were like, okay, she's dramatizing a little bit, they're not gonna die. But for me, it was a really serious fear. Anyway, now we are together and we got married, and I'm in America now. But now I have another thing to be sad about. Another relationship that I have to, keep going on is the relationship with my family. because my family lives back in Lithuania, and I don't know when I'm gonna be able to see them again. And talking about uncertainty, actually, because that's what you asked about. You know, I was thinking about it, that it's the hardest thing for me is to be dreaming about seeing them and planning to see them. You know, I make those plans in my head, when we're gonna go back to Lithuania, what we're gonna do there, how it's gonna look like, and it makes me happy to think about it. But being in this world situation, I always have that understanding that it might not happen. You know, I can dream about it, but till the last moment, I won't know if it's gonna happen. And I find it tricky because I think that uncertainty is the only certain thing in our lives.
Okay.
You know, and it always was. But the pandemic kind of puts that uncertainty in your face. Because we always imagine that, oh, you know, I control the situation. I bought a flight ticket. I made plans, so it's going to happen for sure. But I don't know why we were so sure, because even before pandemic, anything can happen to like stop you from seeing your family, you know, from being able to fly somewhere or...
And did that ever happen to you before, that you were in a similar situation? And now talking about not your boyfriend, which, by the way, this should be a lesson for you, how you thought earlier and actually what happened. So from our experience, when later on something like that happens, we have to go back at least to the experience that you had yourself at that moment, how you thought about it. Because a lot of times moving forward in another context, you may think similar things and feels that way. Uncertainty, I don't know, you know, and you make up the stories and you allow your brain to take off, you know, so it begins to start, you know, going and making all these extreme assumptions, you know. So that is the time actually to go back, listen, from my own experience, not others, because others, that's something else that we can talk about later. That from my own experience, I was thinking like this so many times before, and I know what actually happened, okay? Now I'm in this kind of a conditioning that I had that inside myself and it's popping up the whole time. What if, maybe, but what if, and I'm worried. You know, I love this and that, but I'm worried. And say, okay, just calm down a little bit. Take a breath in, take a breath out. Just come to this position right now. Think about it. It didn't happen that way, okay? So no, you are not right about all the things. You are also not in control of all the things. The best thing to do to find is some kind of a balance, because uncertainty and certain things are good to be uncertain about. Certain things, it's good to be certain about. I'll just give you a stupid example, simple example, okay? You want to go watch a movie, okay? You heard about it, okay? But you're uncertain how it's going to happen, but that gets you going, you know? How would it be? This is, I'm certain what's going to happen at the end. Oh, we cannot tell you about this and so forth. But imagine you were certain about the whole movie. You wouldn't even go watch it. I know it already what happens at the end. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye. You know? But certain things which are important in life, it's good to be certain about. But even there, you always, and if you get to know yourself, we're going back to that point, get to know yourself better and better, you notice, you remember how you thought about it, about a similar situation before, okay? And that didn't happen so dramatically as you thought, okay? And on a list, actually, you can put how many things that I think of which didn't turn out that way anyway. It turned out to be okay, or not as dramatic as I thought. And that will help you at that moment to get another perspective of or let's say, to become a bit more optimistic. Unless you have this trained voice, or trained, I guess it's a voice that comes and tells you, and that's again conditioning, you know, what you believe in. If you say this, this will happen. So whatever you say, the world is going to go against it and something else is going to happen. That has nothing to do with the world or anything. This has something to do with you and your understanding of it. What you have come to believe, you know. And then sometimes after that goes by, as I said, you begin to laugh about it. My God, you know, like you, for example, you with your boyfriend, okay? And now, how often does it happen to you that you think back, I was thinking that way, and now you see him or you're with him and you're married? You know, how different of the directions that was, you know? And I believe that happens with a lot of people, but we seem to forget the good things that happen to us. And really, these bad things are sticky. They stick to us, and it always pops up. But it's up to us to always go back and look at it and clean it. Okay, it can stick again. Oh, you clean it again. It sticks again. You clean it again. It goes back and forth until it doesn't stick anymore. And when it wants to stick, already you have trained your mind, you have trained your subconscious to come and say, no, this is nonsense anyway, this is the past. I know from now on, I should be more optimistic. Whatever it is, I'll take it anyway, because I've done that in the past. So this gives you a bit of a more of a confidence.
And it reminds me of the topic that me and you talked on already, it's the story you've been telling yourself, right? And
exactly.
The situation I am in now is also a story I'm telling myself. You know, how I imagine how it's gonna what's gonna happen, if I'm gonna see my family or not, when, you know, because even now I do have those thoughts that like, oh, maybe, you know, maybe they're gonna close the world again and now I won't see my family ever again, which is a nonsense, and I shouldn't go to that place. But I don't know, do you think that people tend to go to bad places?
Well, as I said also earlier, unfortunately, but it's good to notice that. But just noticing it is the first step, I would say. Okay, before you don't notice it, all of a sudden you're in that feeling, that place, because your thought triggered an emotion within you. The emotion showed it physically within you. You get issues breathing, your heart's palpitation, you know, and so on and so forth. If it keeps on going, and the worst case scenario is some people, like in panic attacks, they just pass out. And why do they pass out? That's a kind of a defense mechanism of the body, because believe it or not, your body, every single cell is there to serve you. It's not like a machine that, you know, you have to oil it or something. Of course, you got to take care of yourself, take care of your thoughts, your food, your diet, and everything. But they're there to serve you. When that becomes more and more apparent for you, a lot of things change then. A lot of thoughts that you've had, you notice that you're evolving. And as you're evolving, you become different. Your thoughts become different. You become different. Then that is, again, as we talked about, your belief system becomes different. But so acknowledging it, that's one thing, noticing it. Okay, this is coming, and it feels terrible. Okay? Then the only thing that you have in your portfolio, so to say, is the experience from the past. What can you put in there? This didn't happen then. Why should it happen now? But since you love them so much, there's always this thing, what if, is always there because of your emotions to them. You know, there's always there. And it's okay. It's okay. But imagine, that's in many different contexts. You can say that. By doing this to myself, am I making anything, am I improving anything about the outcome? Like they say, people who are, they shouldn't be too wealthy because, you know, because they're poor people and so forth. And okay, for example, that's a belief. Okay, oh, I'm so scared to show my wealth, and I'm, you know, and because there's so many people that need help. By you being poor, no poor person will get rich. That's the principle. By you knocking yourself down around, that will not change the situation of you seeing your parents or not. And we said there are these laws of the universe that we're finding out more and more. And these are, I mean, some call it has been overrated and very misunderstood, this whole law of attraction and so forth. It's been very, very much misunderstood. But something like that does exist. It exists, and say a law of collaboration, let's call it. That things fit together. In quantum mechanics, they also showed that in a very simple manner. They've tested it in physics, and it does, because that means your consciousness, whatever you focus on and throw your energy there, you don't know you're doing it, but consciousness is basically focus on material world sends energy, because everything's made out of energy, to that. Now, good or bad, okay? When something that you don't like, you keep on visualizing, you keep on seeing it, your heart, and with the emotion, it really goes out. Unfortunately, similar situations in different contexts will come right back at you. You know, and then you say, I knew it. I knew this would happen. You know, you're expecting it. In basically, another word for it before they said a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, there is a lot more to this. It's not only that we're in our little, in our own bodies, and this is, everything's happening inside and with yourself. Your thoughts, they magnify, they go out. Your feelings, they go out. They've shown that also in their testing. And what I'm telling you is not a guru from India thousands of years that said that, which is true. They did say that, by the way. But that's not enough for me. For me, I like to get something which is a bit tangible. So there are these researchers, there are these professors who are very critical about this, and they're seeing this happen. So they say we cannot be so arrogant to say that, oh, we know this does not exist. It does exist. And there are places like Heart Math Institute, where they're checking what happens, what kind of vibes and what outreach your heart has, and the feeling and the information it sends to your brain, which the brain has to then decipher. Yes, no, maybe, so on and so forth. And the people who get much better in it, and they ask their heart, they put their hands on it. Because when you put your hand on it, your focus goes on where you're touching your body. And then you ask a certain question, you relax. You ask a certain question. In the heart, we have over 40,000, they call it something neurons as well. So basically your heart thinks too, you know. And you ask a question and you get this sensation. Because with the heart, there is no duality. In the brain, there is a duality. Yes, no, maybe, if, oh. Here, it's only one. It's either yes or no. I mean, you get a feeling for it. And this is what I also saw in Heart Math Institute. This is what they're looking at. So we're much more everything. Yes, it is, and that's what amazes me. And I look into it very often to these entities, organizations, and I look who is a part of this organization. There are a lot of them. A lot of awakening is happening as we're speaking. People are waking up, whatever that means. Waking up, that means you change your perspective and see yourself different as you used to see yourself before. Now imagine with that kind of an understanding, and it gets more and more, how you look at relationships. I want you. I want this from you. It's not love. It's trading. I give you, you give me. Okay? That's trading. That's not really love. Love, if you want to find love, you don't find it in another person, to be honest to you. You find it within yourself. That's where it is. And my question now to you is, do you have a good time with yourself when you're alone? Can you have a good time with yourself? That's fantastic. That is fantastic, because a lot of people think they're not enough. They're not enough. They need a relationship. Or if that would fill in the gap, or if the person would be like this, or if the person would be like that, you know, then I would be happy. You know, then I would be happy. Then this would happen. But imagine, in your imagination is something so powerful. How does it feel to be that at the end station where you want to get to? Imagine you're there right now. How would that feel? I can't imagine. Well, start. You can imagine how it can go wrong, so you have the same possibility to imagine how it could go well too.
You know, I have that interesting experience because I lived away from my family a few times in my life. And the first time I did it, I went to Australia when I was 19. It was my first time leaving home, and I lived there for 8 months. And that was my journey of becoming friends with myself, and I'm really thankful for that journey. It helped me a lot later in life. Anyway, I remember I was focusing a lot on, you know, every day I would think of how I'm gonna see my family, how I want to see them. I would even have that like pain inside my body of wanting to see them, like wanting to hug them or kiss them, or
Right.
you know, just for a second. And then I find it really interesting how easy it is to come back home. You know, the day comes, you go on a plane like
Right.
30, 40 hours and you're home. And the
Yes.
time you had there wishing to go home is gone now. And you can't take it back, you know? So I kind
Right.
of
Right.
learned
Right. Right.
that the moment when I will see someone I love is gonna come, you know? So it was hard for me during the pandemic because I had that thought maybe it might not come. That was like a new
Yeah.
challenge for me.
Of course,
But
because it was something else. It was something else that came on top of it, another variable, which everybody's involved in. And there, you have no control whatsoever. You know, apparently
yeah.
you don't have it. Yes, we have a question here. I can see on my phone. Grete, I think it is Grete. Is this? Thank you so much for the rich talk. Can you see it too? Can you read it for me, maybe?
Yeah,
Gintarė?
I can read it for
Please,
you. She
please do
says,
that.
I'm interested. How do you think, why do some people are better at coping with uncertainty? Does this depend on past experiences or dispositional characteristics more?
Heuristics more, yeah. Well, basically, it is a mixture. It's a cocktail of both, because it comes again down to the point where you say it's your, as I said, your upbringing, your experience that you had, and the nature of your character, which is built upon these things that I just said. I mean, before we used to also talk your belief system. Where does that come from? You know, I said from the trimester in the womb, it starts, the consciousness starts going up, and you start sponging in everything until you're 7. So a lot of that has a lot of influence on it. So yes, it does have to do with that. Nonetheless, if you become aware that there is something wrong, you know, then you challenge your beliefs, you challenge the experience that you had, because imagine everything that we know now is from the experiences that we have. And how much, we're over 7 billion people, imagine, okay? Imagine, no, that's how it is. But imagine you have, in comparison to that, how much experience do you have, a personal experience? 0.0001%, okay? And you're viewing your life only through these experiences. Experience is good, but it's the past. You can move on through the experience that you had and not gain anymore, not evolve anymore. And if that bothers you, then that's a trigger. And then you ask why. Then you begin to think. Then you begin to reflect. And when you reflect, you're already moving ahead. You're already questioning certain things, if that is correct or not. Because in your paradigm, as we talked before, you have a paradigm, your view of life, so to say, and that comes way back, you know, from who coined it, Thomas Kuhn that coined it. You see certain things that you can function within these patterns, within these parameters, and these are your beliefs. Now, in the middle of it, when you're doing okay, certain things happen which do not fit to your paradigm. So what happens? A crisis, which is actually good, because that's how you evolve. Then you begin to ask questions, why? Then you read books. Then you now, today's technology, in a positive manner, you're connected to the whole globe. You can get information. Some are nonsense, and you can probably sense it if it's nonsense. Don't take everything which is written as a blog, whatever, that's true. Always check the sources. And the other thing, when you get to know yourself, check your own intuition. Does it, even though your brain doesn't know yes or no, your intuition feels that it is correct information. So you get that information and you evolve and you test it. It could be trial and error. So this is how you can go about. And as you're doing this, you're getting to know yourself better. And then you can also have fun with yourself. Then you don't need somebody to love you for you to love you yourself. You get to know this being, this amazing, fabulous thing that you are, and not what you've been told, you know? And that's where growth comes.
And
I hope that was enough information.
I remembered so last spring when I was really struggling not seeing my boyfriend, I
Right.
kind of had an understanding of what could help me. So for me
Okay.
personally, it was journaling, it was going for a walk, it was
Mm-hmm.
stretching. You know, there are things
Mm-hmm.
that make me feel better. And I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, looking back to my life, I can see that it's a lot harder for me to cope with those situations when I don't have connection with me. You know, I'm not okay just being by myself,
Yeah.
even though I
Right.
say, you know, yes, I do enjoy time with myself, but I, as every relationship with myself changes from time to
Mm-hmm.
time too.
Of
But what
course.
I
Yeah.
find really interesting is that even sometimes when I know what to do to make my life easier, I
Mm-hmm.
choose not to. You know, it's easier not to. It's easier to just be
Like
desperate.
what? Give me an example. Give me an example. Like what?
So let's say, um, so like that past spring, I knew that going for a walk is a lot better for me than scrolling social media. But
Mm-hmm.
social media would give me some kind of comfort,
Mm-hmm.
and I would not stand up and go outside, even though I knew that it's something that gives me, not takes from me. And I find it interesting. And I don't know if it's just me or it's all population, you know, but it's like just harder to procrastinate, you know?
Yeah, of course. You procrastinate things which you don't feel like doing. You don't have the energy for it, and it's easier for you for that time to do to scroll down and see. And so that's not really that bad. I mean, you shouldn't be that hard on yourself. I mean, discipline is very important if you want, if you're having a routine to stick to that. But there's certain things, as you just said, it wasn't that bad to scroll to go on the internet to do so on. So it wasn't that bad for you. Because if it would be, while doing it, you would feel the pain. You're like, I got, and then this thing is that, yeah, do something else, do something else. That would come to you, and then you would be urged to do that. And then when you're doing it after that, how would you feel afterwards? You know, it's always good to try things out, test things out for yourself, and don't sugarcoat it. See it as it is. You know, try it out, see it as it is. Because one thing that is for sure is when you're, especially with your mind, when it start taking off. And that's one thing I always tell my clients, I told my patients and so forth. I make it very simple. You know, I say you have a ping pong going on in your head. A, B, A, B, A, A, B, A says something, B says, yeah, you're right. You know, so they have the internal communication. And this could go either way, like two kids, like your roommate or whatever. This roommate could be nice or it could be toxic too, you know, depending on your thoughts. So one thing that you got to do, and that's what comes from self-awareness, is to have like a triangle. If you have a C, okay, or alpha, beta, and then omega, you know, basically, which is viewing this communication. When you notice what you're thinking, you know, like as if another person is looking in, you notice what you're thinking, that's where it's kicking off. You're noticing your thoughts. You're not fully involved in your thoughts and it's taking you anywhere it wants to go. You would be more in control. The omega or the C, you know, would be the chief and say, hey, kids, hello, hello, hey, okay, calm down now. Take it easy. What are you thinking about? Remember what happened last time? So don't do the same mistake again, you know? And they're like, yeah, okay, but. You're like, you know, and you become aware. You're like, yeah, all right. Actually, that's a good point. Okay, what can I do to make it better? You keep on training that. You keep on observing your thoughts. You do certain things to get you close to yourself, like meditation. Meditation. And don't be scared of meditation. There is no, you have to sit this way, you have to do this, you have to do that. Find the way. Meditation is focus. You sit, you focus. And breathing techniques are the best things. Find out the proper breathing technique that will get you in that mood. So basically what you do, A and B, they're talking, and the C's talking to them. They're all busy, okay? And then when you do that, all that will subside. They can talk, you know, but it goes away and away and away. And then you can less and less hear them. So that means your focus goes where? In the moment right now, and you're breathing. And this other part of you may say, oh, come on, this is ridiculous, this is nonsense. So that's where you basically put your foot down and say, this is what I want to do because I know how good it is for me. And you keep on doing it. 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day. In a week, do it twice or something. That's one thing. The other thing is when it's nice, beautiful weather, you don't have to sit and do this and that. You can walk. Go for a walk, whether it's somewhere quiet. But there, be very conscious of every step you're taking. You're in the moment. You're not, what did I have today in the morning? Oh, should I call my mother? Should I call my loved one? Should I call the... You're in that moment there. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. You're observing things, but you're not giving meaning to anything. You're basically in your... And it's a monotonous thing that gets you in a trance mood, okay? One step, the next step. One step, the next step. You're breathing with your step. When you're involved in that, already a lot of things loosen up. And even though you don't feel it immediately, bit by bit, when you come back home, you'll feel much better than actually having stayed home. So see what suits you. It does make a big difference.
Yes, so I think it's really important to recognize the things that give us energy and the things that take out energy of us, and choose the things that give us energy, right? And we have a question. So Yeva is asking, I would like to know what are the best strategies for coping with overthinking. This activity is so useless and hard to get rid of. So you told 2 coping strategies. That's breathing techniques and meditation.
Which is a combination of both, yes.
Yeah.
There is one thing which actually worked. The question was to calm down, because I cannot read it exactly what it said.
Yeah, she's asking for coping techniques with overthinking. She wants to stop overthinking.
Okay. Oh, overthinking, like anything else, is a habit. You know, habits are very difficult to get rid of, but that doesn't mean you cannot get rid of it. You can start a new habit, okay? And by that I mean, yeah. By that, sorry, I just have to do the hook it down. There are certain things when you're overthinking. That means, what does that mean? Overthinking. A and B are on a roll. They're giving each other. That was terrible in a very negative manner. You know, something happened. Yeah, you're right. I remember. Yes, I'm this. I'm that. And you keep on. It's a downward spiral that it keeps on going down. So by then, as much as the omega, you're viewing it. First of all, that would help to ease it down. But if it's past that, okay, it's past that, you got to do something to cut the pattern. By cutting the pattern, I'll give you an example. Imagine we're in a very hard, discussion, or we're fighting, the two of us, fighting. All of a sudden, the window breaks, and I don't know, somebody throws a rock at the window and comes in, and it just stopped. And we're like, what happened? So we go look, and then after we found out who it was and so on and so forth, we're talking to each other. We were like, okay, what were we discussing? You're going back. So that thing cut the pattern. So you have nobody to throw rocks at your window or to do that, and you're overthinking. Notice that you're overthinking, and by saying, I don't want to overthink, it's going to be even more. Because what you're doing, again, physical realm and the non-physical realm, there are 2 different rules to it. The non-physical is basically your thoughts and so on and so forth. When you say you don't want something, you're actually focusing, you're putting your consciousness on it, so you give it more fire, you give it more energy, okay? When you say, I don't want this, I don't want, but you're thinking about it, so you're giving energy to it. So the best thing would be to cut the pattern. First of all, do certain breathing techniques, and as these thoughts keep on coming, go back to your breathing. There are different breathing techniques that sometimes your brain says, what the hell are you doing? Like basically you sit and you do your best, that's one technique, as if you want to hold yourself from peeing, if I may say that. Okay, you're holding that part down a little bit, okay? You're holding it. And you do certain breathings. That means in a second you do 3 or 4 breaths. Like that, okay, and you close, and it begins to warm up. Yeah, it begins to, it looks,
I'm
sounds
trying
ridiculous.
it now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Maybe other people are trying it too. And these all are in pranayamas. Also, they have different names to it. And this is something that you do. Keep on breathing in and out and out for 30 seconds, 40 seconds. You keep on doing that. You know, and your brain was overthinking about something. Now the brain says, whoa, 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 what are you doing? You know, this is something new. So that for me is cutting the pattern. Okay? And then while you're like that, you have a lot of oxygen within you. So you get a bit kind of a heavy-headed. And then you calm down with your breathing. You breathe in, you hold it, give it space, and slowly you give it out again. The thoughts may come, but you're like, okay, I'm already halfway high, so I'm good. So I'm breathing again, you know, because it does kind of get you high a little bit, you know. So you basically do that, and you're already out of that circle. Now it's much easier to control going back inside there than before. Before you were fully involved. This is where you cut it. That's one way of doing it. Again, breathing, and keep on that. And if it feels good, keep on doing it. Breathe. Breathe nicely. Breathe. Learn how to breathe. Stomach breathing. Basically, when you breathe, your chest doesn't get big. Your stomach gets big. That's how it is. And you feel as it's going within you, and it's cleansing you inside, and you're basically letting out this dark smoke that is coming out of you. Imagine. Imagination is everything. You do that. Okay? And you tell yourself, I'm calm. Peace. Peace. Calm. And then this other voice says, what peace? What calm? You're crazy. You're like, shh. And you get more and more in tune with that. Because it keeps on coming, because it's a habit. It keeps on coming. The other thing, the other technique, which you can find it anywhere there, it's called EFT. They call it emotional freedom tapping. You basically tap on certain parts of your body where are the meridians, and that sends also, while you're doing it, that sends information also to the brain. This for me initially was something very ridiculous. You know, say certain things, and you know, you do the tapping here, and then it's here, and it's here, and then it's here, and so forth. You can get more details on it on the internet. You can also definitely find out. This was a therapeutic way for people who had post-traumatic stress disorder. This helped them tremendously, more than almost any medication that did. Medication, of course, they went with medication, and then bit by bit they put it down. Because what medication does, it basically puts down the symptoms. It makes you numb. It's still there. But with this, it numbs as if you don't feel it. But deep inside, as a human, you feel everything. Maybe a little less, but it's still there. With this, a lot of things came out. First of all, they start here, and they say certain things. You know, they sit, they say to themselves, to be able to understand it better, you give yourself this kind of a rating from 1 to 10. Where am I now? In this feeling, in this stress, in this feeling, okay? And if it's anything more than 5 or 6, then you definitely got to do it. Okay? I mean, right now, with you, I'm sitting here, I would say mine is 1.5. Okay? So it's okay. So you say what the rating is, okay? If it's over 5, you say it's 6 or 7. Fine? Then you start. It starts with they call it the karate chop, actually called something else, but to make it simplified, they call karate chop. You start hitting it. And then the first statement that you said, although I am XYZ, and I'm so pissed off about this, and these thoughts are driving me crazy. No, say it. Give it out. Give it out. Despite all this, I truly respect myself. I truly love myself. And if it's true, if it's not, see what it is. If you don't love yourself, fine. Say, I like myself. I respect myself. I care about myself. You say it 3 times. And then you go first through the negative parts. You say, all this crap is happening. I cannot get over it. And you keep on saying, you let it out. Now, maybe while you're doing this, some other things trigger and comes out. Say that. Let it out. Okay? After you do this about 5 minutes, going through all the points, then you relax. Breathe in and out, and now you switch that to a positive thing. You said, despite this and this has happened, I know I can make it. I know I've done this before. I know about this. Right now, here, I am in control of what I'm doing. I can do that, you know, and then you keep on going through that, another 2 minutes, 3 minutes until it's ready. You take a deep breath in, and you wait. And then you tell yourself at that moment, what is the rating now between 1 and 10? If it was 6 and if it's 5, it's already good. If it's lower, it's even better. You know, if it's the same, you say it's okay. It's 5 point. If you're at the the logical one, it's 5.75. Okay, good. At least we have 15 down. That's fine too. But you keep on doing it, it gets better in it. That's another technique. I went a little too far into it, but that's what it is. You can get much better information on the site.
You gotta make sure you lock your room's door, because if your mom comes and you're like,
exactly, that's exactly what it is. Because a lot of things for me too, it sounded stupid, it sounded ridiculous. So I tell some people, they go, I can't. I got my children, I got my husband, I have this, I have that. I'm like, you do go to the toilet, don't you? She's like, yeah. I'm like, bingo. Do it. This is for your own well-being. Try it out. If you can't try the breathing techniques in the bathroom. You're sitting on the toilet, do it. There's no shame. Take care of yourself and see how it is. Try different things out. There are many more, but these are some that just popped up in my head.
I actually have a question. So talking about overthinking,
Yeah.
when you're in a difficult situation, would physical activity help too? Like, if
Absolutely.
you're like, oh my God, I can't go out of this pattern, and then you like turn on an exercise class on YouTube that's like high intensity, and you just do it.
That is if you're prone to, or you're a sportive person, or you like sports. To do that, sports is one of the best things in anything. It's fantastic. Sports is fantastic. Going for a run or a quick walk, even faster. And while you're walking, do that. Yoga, heaven. Yoga is fantastic. I mean, I don't dare to do it because I don't want to crack my back. Because I need to have no, you got to really watch out, to be honest. Yoga, everybody's beautiful. I saw it on YouTube how they do it. If you're a beginner, please don't do it. And only do it when you have actually a person, an instructor, to telling you why you're doing it. Because you may think you're doing the right moves, but you're not. And and you push yourself too much. Anyway, if you can do yoga, simple yoga, fantastic. Because in yoga, everything's with breath technique too. Every move you do, you take a breath, you take it out, you move. You breathe, you move. It's a mixture of that. You can do an easier way, go for a walk, a quicker walk, and breathe. Focus on your breath. You can can do a good running, that's excellent. Because the hormones, I think it's endorphins or so, they begin to pop up, they come up. Have you seen those people who do, I don't know, these incredibly wrong runs? After a while, they look like, because they're high, they're absolutely high. And they're enjoying it also very much. If you can do that, absolutely, why not?
And coming back to relationships, I remembered one more thing.
Yeah.
That I noticed in my own experience is, after talking to family member or to my boyfriend before, I would like live my life, then I would talk to them,
right,
and that would like bring my missing feelings, all those like sad feelings of, oh, they can't be a part of important events in my life. Oh,
for now.
Yeah.
Everything is now. Nothing's forever. Now, it's for now. Okay, so, and these are the things you tell yourself. Everything's just now. Okay, it's not that they're never going to see each other. Never. I mean, there are cases like that which are very tragic, where people don't see each other for whatever has happened. Those are tragic moments. But really look at yourself. Let the Omega look down at your thoughts and say if it's really true. Everything is for a period of time. And it's up to you how you want to go through this period of time. Imagine you're in a train. You can't get out. That's how it is. Okay? And if you jump out, it's worse than staying inside because you will hurt yourself. okay? But you have to go, you're in this train and it's going to stop eventually. We don't know where or when. But you have to cope with it. It's a coping mechanism, okay? When you're there, what are you actually telling yourself? And if it's really true, and even if it is true, what can you do for yourself to give it less of a weight? Your emotions gives it a lot of weight. Thoughts, similar, every thought has a vibration, okay? Low, high vibration. The low vibrations is not good. The high vibration is nice, okay? But anyway, if you're in a certain vibration, similar thoughts, as I said, what you put out, you come in, also inside here. Similar thoughts would begin to line up with that vibe. And no wonder when you think of something which is upsetting you and so forth, similar thoughts will come to you again. I remember that happened then too. Oh, that was terrible. I remember this. Oh my God. Oh, remember that. Oh my God. Why don't you give me a gun? Let me shoot myself. You know? And at the end, you basically look, and especially those times where you have been through this and it turned out to be very well, like you, your boyfriend, that now is your husband, and you look at it, I'm like, all the thoughts that I was having. And you look at it like, that was ridiculous. How you giggle about it.
Yeah, what a waste of time.
What a waste of time. But it's fine. It's fine. But some people have a bigger learning curve. Some people have a smaller learning curve, you know. It depends what you get from it. Some are used to it without knowing that they're used to it. Some are not that aware. They don't have the omega functioning yet. They're in this thing of AB. They're talking to each other, you know, internal communication, which goes actually one direction. So that would be the main point.
And we have a huge gift in nowadays. You know, we talk a lot of how bad phones and social media is, and I do think that they are energy sucking most of the time.
Yeah.
But it is a beautiful thing to be able to still create a relationship, you know, keep going on your relationship, even being far away, like know about how one's day went by. And I mean, I have those mixed feelings, you know. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy I can send a kiss to my brother through my phone. Sometimes I just want to crack my phone because I'm like, I'm so sick of seeing him through the phone. You know.
Sure. What would be in that moment? What's the alternative?
You mean the alternative of my thought pattern?
No. In that moment, in that case that you were saying with your brother, that you were talking, what would be the other alternative? Not seeing him at all, maybe just by voice, or by other means, or no means at all. Now we have the possibility of seeing each other like this, you know. For now, that's good. And this now could be a little longer or shorter. And one thing which is also important, I noticed this. Actually, I noticed this is kind of turning out to be like a human nature, which we have to, you know, each person for themselves, they have to see if it's correct and if possible to change it. So when something comes which is nice and good and great, we're like, wow, great, oh yeah, new technology, I can do this, I can do that, oh, wow, Facebook, wow, great, Instagram, yeah. And then after a while, they're like, they're getting my information. I'm so sick of Facebook because they do this and that. I am so sick of it. I'm like, God, calm down, okay? Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation, and use the things that you have. I mean, I come from this generation where there was no internet, nothing. If I want to research, I had to go to the library. I had to go to different places. It was a big pain in the neck, okay? To get information about someone. I was doing business, and these guys were all con artists, you know? To find out, so I had to get my senses if he's telling you the truth or not. Now it's so much easier. Now if I want to do research, I go and find out a lot of things on the net. And then I have the possibility to see what is correct and what is not, and what fits and what it doesn't. Before, you don't have this. You didn't have that. And right now, if everybody's like bitching about it, okay, you know what? Turn it off. Who's telling you should do that? Don't. Go back in time. You know, I have no mercy there to say, you know. Really see it as it is. If you don't like it, okay, then leave it. Who's telling you should do it? No, but I have to get my point. Okay, do it for your point. Do it for yourself. Don't tell others. Everybody's unique in their own way. So just,
Oh, I
and
love it.
that's how I think one should see it. Yeah, really. And then the best thing is, then they come up now with this pseudo scientific things which are in some blogs or somewhere. Somebody comes up with an idea, it's written it down, and this is toxic for you. Facebook is da da da, or that. It could be, but it's up to you how you use it. You don't want to give your privacy. You don't want to give certain information. Don't do it. Who said you should? If you're not, you are the one that does the call. And that's in a way empowering, you know. You're not a victim, but if you have the mentality of being a victim, man, you're going to be a victim all over the place, through the pattern, everywhere. Everything it is, it wasn't me, it was him. It wasn't me, it was her. It's my life. It's the world. It's this. It's that. It's that. Blah, 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 blah. Calm down. You know, look inside. Look, get to know this, then you will be able to maybe look at it in a different way. More empowering way for you. And sometimes when it's not empowering, just leave it. If you can change it, change it. If you can't, just leave it. By hitting yourself upside your head, the only difference is you'll get a headache. You cannot do much about it. Certain things, sometimes it's really good to just drop things. If it's getting nowhere, just drop it. Cut the pattern.
Okay, that was really inspiring.
Yeah. So I mean, coming up with big names and who wrote which book, and hey, there are tons of books actually that helps you out too. But this is basically the basis of it. This is very, very basic that I'm just saying. It comes out to that. You can read tons of books, and they go into details and so forth. Some may appeal to you, some may not appeal to you at all. But see what does. And if it doesn't appeal to you, say, this is a reason why it doesn't appeal to me. Not because my brother said that, or my husband said that, or my wife said that, or to you. To you. Why doesn't it appeal to you? You know? Or why do you like something? Why? Find out why it is, and then you're clear about it. A lot of times, I mean, you told me yourself last time, I think it was, where you said, getting flowers, that means love. You know? If you get flowers, that means they love me. You know? I understand, why is it so? And then you say, oh my God, this is why my mom always got the flowers, and that is why I think it is. You already, that's a great step. So that was your understanding how your mother got it. But what is it for you? Do you do that then to others too? To show them your love? What you want to get, are you giving that? Excellent. Excellent. That's fantastic. No, I've been in relationships up the wazoo, what is concerned, because it's like, you know, the person, the girl or the woman is doing a certain thing to me, and I do the same thing to her, similar, to give her own medicine. She's like, now you're being judgmental. Oh, now you're being calculating. I'm like, excuse me, who's being calculating here? She doesn't notice that she was doing that all along herself. And when I show that to her, this is something new. It's, oh, how can you do that? Damn, you're doing it to me day and night. They don't even notice it, you know? Talk about self-awareness, like -5. There's nothing there. You know? Anyway, I think we went through several fields, which has to do with relationships. I hope this was enjoyable for all of you listening in.
It was for sure for me. I laughed a lot.
Great, great. And if there is anything you'd like to add, Gintare?
I think I don't want to add anything. I'm just blown away by your...
Okay, that's great. That's great. And anyway, for the viewers, we're having this every week on Wednesdays. And we'll also be having possibilities for you to also send us maybe topics that interest you. I don't know, we have an email that they can send us email, and we'll see the most of interest that we get there. We'll follow that topic, and we also let you know on Instagram when it's going to be. So that's very important for us also to basically stay connected to you and open up certain doors and ideas, and in a very day-to-day manner. And you can send it to us, and then we'll definitely try to do our best to address those topics. And that will be it for me today. Anything you want to say? You look like you want to say something.
Yeah,
So
I can just add the email they could send it to. They can send it to Instagram, or they can send it to email too. It's hello@tokitus.com.
Okay. hello@tokitus.com. Okay, that's what it is. And we're looking forward to hearing from you guys. And I will sign off. And it was great talking to you, Gintare.
It was really great talking to you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay?
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. You take care. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.